Right. So last night was more about the passion and the emotions. Today I'm gonna split the difference and talk more about the techniques that I use because it can be very confusing. And of course, the purpose is mostly to uh, fight against AI because that was always on the forefront of science fiction, and so it was like foretold and a prophecy, so to speak, that eventually one day the AI would be smarter than the rest of us. The whole Terminator thing with the invasion of the robots, yada yada, Danger Will Robinson, Lost in Space. I set out to prove to myself that I could be better than a computer in every way within my own life, and that a computer could never replace me. And I think I'm achieving that. And that's something to keep in mind with the tools that we create, because technology just means tool. It means something implemented by the user to achieve a result or an implementation to achieve the desired, application, whatever you want it to be. But like, as I said, I don't paint like anybody else that I know or anybody else that I've ever studied in history. Because again, I've been doing this since I was 14 or 15 years old. So that's about 20 years. I did my first oil painting in high school, and actually one of them is right here, and you can see the huge differences. Because you have to start. Whoops, you have to start somewhere, and this is where I started. And this one here. So that's 2004. The other one, they're both done the same year. So naturally, I still have them, and they're very, very much like a child's drawings. The proportions aren't right, and like I look at the Porsche, and I can tell like it's a bit, it's not quite square and whatnot. More because I've always looked at things like a snapshot and the outline first, and the major characteristics, the lines, right, like on a car or on an airplane, that give it definition, and then filling in with the tonal values to give it depth and dimensionality. One of the things that you learn is when trying to giving something depth is the grays that are involved, and the differences between tints and tones and contrast according to the color wheel, as I was taught. So like even small differences, say like the zinc white here or the titanium white, they're very different from each other. This is more blue, this is soft, right? This is more warm in its tone. Where you get into these are all the major colors I'm using for this. So cerulean, a cobalt, Prussian blue, and Viridian. And I've also had to mix in some yellow at times, like this guy here, in order to get different values of turquoise. And it's a very much it's all about feeling, right? It's not about being absolutely accurate for this painting in particular, because it's always been a struggle. I can't say this comes to me naturally. It's always about where like setting, like what am I feeling at that time, and how am I going to put that into an image, and how is that going to influence like the result? Because like the anger and the frustration that happens when you're painting leads to muddiness or flatness, right? So that's where like the changes in the grays and like the say like a pink versus a blue when you're doing skin, right? That's because in the middle of the pink and the blue is a gray, or like that's how you get browns and stuff like that. The ochres mixed with say like a purple, so you get like this really deep tone out of that. And I don't use black. All the great artists, well, except Titian. Titian used black. I don't use it. I barely ever use it because I'll use Payne's gray, and I'll use a dioxane purple in order to get say that achieves the illusion. Say like with this guy here, right? That's not black. That's purple. So, and then like we're talking, so like this guy here, and the other space paintings that I've done, they're all black backgrounds. And I've learned from many different artists and a bit of psychology to make these the most attractive and captivating pieces that I can possible. And I'll show you what I mean by the purple. So you look at Lighthorn here, you see, and then like I use like a semi-gloss lacquer on them, and the way that I wanted this to be, especially if you're just trying to get different effects with them, right? Like I want this to be blinding because that's how it would be to witness such a thing. So if this is in direct sunlight, you can't even look at it. It's just like, more of the purples because I really love using purple. So this guy. This is not finished. Obviously, I don't have a lacquer on it. And of course, my mongoose here, which I did within this past year. So, I can tell you some of my secrets, but that doesn't mean you'll ever paint like me. Like irreplaceable stuff here. It cannot be replicated by any computer. And each one is purposefully made individual, yet still something of the same stylistic thematics throughout all of them, with the textures and the brush strokes, as much as I can, because it's all about art is all about the human product, right? And there's some people out there that are freaking psycho and think that when they buy a painting, they buy the artist, but you don't. You don't buy me when you buy this painting or you buy any of the other paintings that I produce or other artworks. You buy a piece of my life and you're a steward for it. You're buying the privilege to have it in your life. That's how I look at it. Because after I'm gone, there's no more. After I'm dead, there's no more paintings. That's it. Right? So see what I mean by the textures. And this one, as you see, was done in 2010. Yeah. And like that's representational of, the state of mind, because especially that one there, the war never changes. That was done out of absolute depression. And I was trying to find something beautiful out of darkness, as I do a lot with these things, because it's just trying to find that flow state, right, and achieve that moment. Because there's a lot of just, I don't remember how I did it. I don't. And when this is finished, I'll look at it and I'll just be amazed. I'll be like, how did I do that? Because I don't do underpaintings, and unless it's something like these two here, which the 104, the Starfighter, was done in 2021, and the Mongoose in the last year 22. Same with the mountain landscape with the meteorite and the Northern Lights, which I very much look forward to lacquering, because it changes the depth, right, and it actually brings out the light, the luminescence with the depth, because as oil painting is and is supposed to be, it's fat over lean, and I always remember that as much as possible, between mixing it on the palette, and then mixing it at times, depending on how smooth or what kind of texture, smoothness versus roughness, and building it up forward as much as I can, because like that's like this, like the 104 here, that was done flat plane first, and in the background first, and then I drew the jet in with a Prismacolor. And the same with the Mongoose. I did the outline of the Mongoose first, and then started just building stuff up until I was absolutely satisfied and satiated. So like this is if you can spot the differences from yesterday or last night, all the power to you. And I want to just show you a close up of the bird on the wire, which is the kestrel. Which is, I did this, and it looks real, doesn't it? Like it's a photograph. And I can do the same. I can achieve the same with pencil, but this again. This is after about 22 years of doing this, and then drawing from a young age, right? Like, so this is what you get, right? So that's, I believe this is Field, British Columbia. And I've seen that from both a train car and my own vehicle. I did this in Winnipeg, most of it in Winnipeg. So this is why it's important to pay the artist. Because if you don't pay the artist, they die. They don't die by physicality. Their spirit will die. And then there's no beauty for anyone. There's no humanity. So frankly, let's get a bit closer on this one. So you see the little differences as I was talking about, like building it up, building and building and building, trying to mimic the turbulent flow that's in here, right? Building and building. And darker, the further away it is, versus, you know, a bit more, depending on the depth of, like, of course, the light absorption due to the volume of the water that's over here, and churning and falling into the spray, right? The spray versus this lead up and like the linear flow that's in here too, because it's just building up in pressure with the wind that blows into it. Just trying to think about it like it actually is, and then painting it like that as much as possible. And we're not quite there yet, but we will. I will get there soon enough. So let me put the phone down here. And this is like, okay, I've been at this today, probably about, well, I started at 10:30 this morning, and it's about 5 p.m. So we'll see you on the next volume.